Good morning, everyone. How are you guys feeling today? Today is finally the last day of effect. Okay, I shouldn't say finally because then it makes it like you guys are all waiting for it to end. But I hope that you guys are excited that we are doing a live every day. But today and marks the end of the Crash Course Learning series. It was a long journey. We had 3 weeks of Crash Course events. The first week was videos, where we gave you guys 10 videos. The next week was Crash Course Live, where me and Chinu came on for 5 days. And this week, which marks the last week, we had external expert speakers come and teach you guys more about Effect House Gaming. So we're so glad to have you guys here. And with me is Joe, who is a very, very professional TikTok games who've created many viral games before. Hi, Joe.
Hiya, how are you guys?
I think everybody is super excited to see you. I see the chat popping. Sasha says, "Hey Joe," with lots of diamonds. Fran says, "OMG, Joe," with lots of O's and lots of E's and a heart emoji. Reem says, "I don't want the series to end." I agree. So even though it's not Crash Course, we will have a regular live. So be sure to come check those out. Paula says, "Hi." Haley Catpaw says, "I'm so sad that it's ending. It's been so fun." We'll make sure to bring more fun people, more fun projects to the live. So keep coming back. Geraldine says, "Hi, Joe." Humble Record says, "Hi." Haley Catpaw says, "Those games are awesome." I agree.
Oh,
Louise says,
thank you.
"Hi, Celine and Joe." Reem says, "Super excited for today." Okay, it seems like everybody is very, very excited to see you. Can you give a little intro about yourself, Joe?
Yes, so I'm Joe. Go by Projoearfilters on TikTok. Yeah, so I started TikTok filters when the Windows version came out. So I had to wait probably about a year or something for the devs to actually make the Windows version. I was very tempted to buy a Mac as well because I was so desperate to get onto TikTok Effect House. But so I started whenever Windows came out. I'm not sure when that was, maybe last year, August, June or August or something like that. But with previous background in other software, um, making games and filters and just experimenting. And yeah, it's been fun. It's been really fun to just learn from other people as well, and also just be inspired by the community.
That is awesome. So I guess Joe joined when we opened our Windows beta, which was a little bit
Yeah,
later than our Mac beta. But luckily for all of you watching, the Windows is available right now. So you don't have to wait. But ever since he joined, he's been killing it. He's the creator behind so many viral effects. I don't think I can even count. And they're all super well done as well. Like it's crazy. Just to give you a list of few, my personal favorite, which was super big recently, is this game called Lock Code, where you have to guess what the lock code is, but it's just covered so perfectly that it's like, is it a 5 or is it a 6? Is it a 0 or an 8? Like it confuses you. But if you do get it, it means that you are a super spy. And at the end, just like we tried the Wordle effect, we'll try to do it together. So make sure to stick around till the very end so we can all try it together. Oh, before we move on, asking a little more questions to Joe, I want to give everybody a reminder. In order to get an Effect House certificate, which you will get if you've been attending the live sessions, you have to go to our forum page and answer the mission question in the comments. I see that some people have it for only day 135 and not all of the days. So make sure that you have to go check all 7 posts. I've uploaded the post for today as well, so make sure you go and comment there. But Joe, I want to ask you more questions. People are dying to know
go for
about that. So, what is your favorite effect that you've created?
favorite effect is probably going to be the color shape one because it
Ooh,
was quite it took a few probably took about a week to make or just to get my head around the concept. So color shape, you have to press different buttons to color
yeah.
an outline of a shape. and so that's probably my favorite one at the moment. And um,
For those of
yeah,
you who
that's
don't know or haven't seen Color Shape, this is what it looks like. So if you tap on it, you can press a line and it'll go over it, and you have to make sure to press it in a certain order so that it matches this photo. But right now, you can see that the order that he pressed, the colors were flipped, which means you were wrong. This looks like a very simple game, but it is actually very challenging. I've seen, I have to admit, I didn't want to look dumb, but I really wanted to try this effect. So I had to do multiple shots because it is so easy to miss the little details. And you're like, oh, I'm almost done. And then you figure out like one of the layers are like under another color. And you're like, oh my gosh, I have to start again. But this is a super entertaining effect. If you haven't tried it out, go try it right now. The name of the effect is Color Shape by PJAR. Projoearfilters. Filters. But okay, if you could go back, you said you've worked on it for a week, which is kind of a long time. If you could go back in time and tell yourself or give yourself some advice before you start this project, what would it be?
it would probably be just take it probably one step at a time,
Mm.
and it's okay to go to sleep and wake up with a fresh mind and continue it again, because sometimes you're just so obsessed with trying to get past a particular stage or
Yeah, yeah.
get a particular thing to work properly.
Hmm.
You have a couple, maybe one or two late nights, and then you wake up the next day and just think, oh, I need a break from this, just to come back to it. So
Yeah.
but just do things in stages. So don't rush it. Don't be too upset if it doesn't go out this week and you set yourself a personal deadline to get it out. Give yourself a few more days to refine it, test it, and before pushing it out.
I think this is so funny because this Monday we asked Kasai a similar question and he
Right.
said the exact same thing. I think because building a gaming effect, it is so big and you have to really break it down to steps. So it can get intimidating if you're just trying to do everything at the same time. But as Joe and Kasai is advising, go one step at a time and make sure to take proper rest. It's
100%.
you feel like even when I'm creating stuff, I feel like, oh my gosh, I'm almost there. I just need to get over this one step.
Yeah.
Inspiration is in my head. I'm in the zone. I'm just creating. But make sure maybe a fresh perspective helps. If you after a couple hours of sleep, you might look at things in a different way and you're like, oh my gosh, how could I not catch that with my foggy, sleepy brain? So make sure to take some rest. Okay, what is the most rewarding part of being an effect creator?
The most rewarding for me will probably be seeing people use your effect. I think that's a bonus. Like seeing people interact with your effect or test your effect for you and then find bugs. So I'm like, okay, I didn't even spot that. So it's good. It's good to see responses, just feedback, visual feedback from the users. Also, just the community as well. I think the CMs, community managers, their support for the creators and taking time to answer creators when they can, and also just supporting us. So when there's feedback or something wrong with the software, being able to be like, okay, I'll make a note of that and get the dev team to actually look into it and see if we can iron out any changes. So I think that is the just the responsiveness. It's quite good.
So one thing that I really love working with our ambassadors about our community is actually receiving their feedback. Tell us like what you want or some parts like, hey, here's a bug and report it to us. So we are really
Mm,
building this app together. We're hearing your feedback, we're trying to reflect it. So thank you so much, Joe, and all of the community for
yeah.
giving us great feedback. People are in the comments saying Joe is the king with all caps, the king of TikTok games.
No, I'm still learning. Trust me.
Reem says Pro
But
Joe
thank
got
you,
to
thank you,
go.
thank you.
big fan of his game filters. Panda Corn is me said, "Oh my gosh, I tried this effect today, but it was so challenging." Mike Blackhead says Projo is the maximum exponent of filtered games. Oh my gosh. People are all saying that is the greatest part about when your people uses your effects. Royce Falk also says, love seeing people all over the world use my effects. I agree. Oh, Kel says, wow, just checking out Joe, super awesome creator, just followed.
I
Yay.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, if you guys haven't already,
Thank you.
please go check out Joe's account and give him a follow. So I'll put his link in the YouTube chat, but definitely go check out his effects, follow. Another question for you. What is the
Mm.
most challenging part about being an effect creator?
Challenging part is maybe one or two, but it's I think you just need to give ourselves some time to learn. So sometimes time is the challenging part. Just trying to give yourself a week or a couple of days just to experiment with a node or a couple nodes to just figure out something, even if it's makeup. Just trying to because Effect Apps has released Material Graph now and a whole bunch of other really cool features. So it's even just giving myself time to just go and learn all those features, because there's a lot of new things that even I don't know fully. I might use them in bits, but to learn them takes a while. So it's just keeping up with the updates.
I know
Yeah,
Effect Class has been releasing new features so quickly. Even as a
yeah.
community manager, I'm like, oh, we have another feature. But I really love how fast we're growing and the
Oh
capabilities
yeah,
of the tool.
100%. The first couple of links are the learning resource from Effect House website, and there's a whole bunch of examples and example templates and really good write-ups there. So that's a very good way to learn all the node, like at least some of the nodes, how to use them. You can ask questions in Discord as well. But honestly, just ask questions in Discord, but ask in a way that the person will understand as well. So don't just ask like because you know the problem, but the person doesn't know the problem. So if you break it down with a screenshot, I love screenshots. So attach a screenshot, attach a video, and people will be able to help you like straight away because they can visually, at least for me, I can visualize what the issue is and say, oh, try this or try that. So yeah, always attach screenshots. Check out the learning resource on effecthouse.com. Maybe not effecthouse.com, maybe effecthouse.tiktok.com. So check out the learning resource and loads of YouTube videos as well, but just don't be afraid to ask.
I think you pointed out a really good thing. The best part of learning or how to learn well is also asking the right questions. Sometimes
Mm,
when I'm trying to answer questions in Discord, they ask a very vague question, and I'm trying my best to help the person who asked the question, but I'm like
yeah,
not sure what they're asking. So just like Joe mentioned, if you have screenshots or project files that you want to link, it would be much help easier for us to identify exactly what you are trying to achieve and then try to help you. So, and we
yeah,
know that there are multiple people in the chat right now, including Haley Kefaz, who is our community expert, who's been trying answering people's questions. So leave them in our Discord channel or our forum, and then we'll get to them. Okay, final question before we move on to the tutorial section. Swimnot from our TikTok Live, hi TikTok Live, nice to see you guys, is asking, also Rolling with the Roses asked the same question. This is a popular question, I could say. Which of the effects you created was the hardest to make? Most challenging effect?
it would probably be the maze one because it's wow,
Ooh.
um, just so many lines and so many parts because each maze is actually done in Photoshop. So I would design the layout in Photoshop,
Mhm,
bring it into Effect House,
mhm,
test it to see if it looks good and if the line if it just looks good and if it plays good.
mm, mm, mm,
But
mm.
I've had to scrap some maps and just try different mazes, like try to make them simpler, try to make them not too complex because the visual
Mhm.
graph just gets crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the maze one just takes a lot of, a bit of brain power to to
I have a
to map
question
out.
for you.
Mm.
Joe, do you know about our latest update, Colliders?
Yes, yes, but I was looking at that today. Actually, that is you have to use rigid bodies. Yeah, yeah, I could actually use that. So again, all that was made before
Yeah, I know. I know.
the new
Joe
stuff. So
is
yeah, I'm gonna
leading the
definitely check that.
field. We didn't have this feature, but now that we have this feature,
Mm.
I'm thinking maybe we can combine the stick micro jam that was also recently released by August with the colliders,
Oh
and
right,
maybe we can
yes,
try to
yes,
do a
yes.
3D maze where you can control with the controller.
No, that'll be fun. Yeah, actually, I have to look into that. I really love the physics engine, so I would love to try that out. I know other people have been trying out the like game plus 40 is crazy with great
Oh
making all these
yeah.
effects. So he's probably done quite a few physics related games, but yeah, definitely want to check those out.
That's fantastic. Okay, let's move on to the tutorial. I see that there are a lot of people asking questions, and Kasai, who was from our Mondays live, is also visiting. Say hi to Kasai,
Oh,
everyone.
amazing!
But I'll write down the question so we can ask Joe at the end. But if you have any more questions, please leave it at the chat and we'll get to it at the end of the session. But let's go to the falling game tutorial. So if you haven't seen falling games, this is what it looks like. It's when fruits are dropping from the top like this, and then you use your head as a tracker, and then you're moving the baskets and trying to get as many fruits as you can. But of course, you can change the assets so it doesn't have to be fruit. You can be collecting money or falling cats. But yeah, let's see if we can go. Joe, do you think you can open up the project file? Oh, speaking of, in Joe's Gumroad, we have added a sample project file so you can download the project and follow along, or there's a more complete version of the project as well if you just want to go and check out the projects. So be sure to go check out Joe's Gumroad. It's in our forum, but I can also leave it in the comments in the YouTube comment section as well. So definitely go check that out. And Joe also has a lot of resources and sample effects and effects templates that you can purchase. So go check that out as well. But Joe, let's go to the screen share page.
Right. Can everyone see my screen? Can you see
Yes.
my screen?
Yes.
Brilliant. Okay. So this is Effect House, the famous Effect House app 2.8.2. So some of you might be prompted to get the get the updates, but this is the let's see, this is the latest one, 2.8.2. So, as Celine said, on Gumroad, there is a free link that you can click on and download this basic setup. And this basic setup just has all the assets included already, subgraphs included, and all we need to do is just program it using the visual script. Um, So just to start, for example, what I normally do for games is I try to work in order. So it's a falling game, for example. How do I want it to start? At the moment, I want the user to tap on the screen to start the effect. So we can probably just start with a screen tap. Before that, I am going to undock this visual scripting, so we just have it big like this. Can you see that?
Yep.
Yep. All
Oh,
right.
yes.
Or no, you can.
Yes, I can.
Okay, brilliant, brilliant. And I'll start with the screen with a screen tap. This is how we want the effect to start using the screen tap. And I'll put a sequence here. With the sequence, we can trigger multiple nodes at the same time, or at least sequentially. I'm just going to drag this over here. This is just my way of working, just so that I can see the screen, see the visual graph bigger, because I've got quite a small screen. Right. So another thing to do is a falling game. So we want the basket to move. The basket is located just here, and we want that to move with the head, so that when we move our head, so that when we move our head, it's responsive. Just gonna undock this again. Right, so what I'm going to do is go to the heads tracker here and click on position. To add the head tracker, you just click plus and you go to AR tracking and select head tracker, and it adds the head tracker to the hierarchy panel. We click on that, go over to the inspector panel, click on position and get rotation, not position. Get rotation. Bear with me. Let's put them both in. So with this, you have certain values from this. Each time the head moves, you get the position. Each time you move your head like this, left and like you lean your head, you get the rotation. As Kesai said, the peak node is a very good node. So if you click on peak, you can see the values here. So with peak node, you can see the values as the heads rotate. So I'm going to change this to to head turn, and you should see the values changing. Here as well. Right, so I've put some subgraphs just to speed things up. So for the heads tracking, you just get this heads tracking subgraph, drag it in, either from the folder that I've included in the Gumroad project. You just go to the folder and just drag it into the project. So just drag and drop into the project here. Once it's dragged in, we put the position into this node, sorry, into that input. We go to the basket. So this is the basket here. As we can see, this is the basket. We need a position of the basket where it is on the screen. Click basket, go to the inspector, click position, and get position. Let's just move this up. Get position. I'm just going to pause this for now, just so that it speeds up the Visual Script graph a little bit. Enter this position here. I'm just going to delete that. And we need the output of the basket. So click on basket and go to position and set position. So we need to set the value. Click it here. And just to keep it going, I'm going to put the update node. Update node just send the pulse every frame, so it keeps the set value active constantly. So I'm going to click play here just to see if it's working. As we can see, it responds to the head. Right, so that is the head tracking done. I'm just going to open this just to show you what is in the head tracker. It is fairly simple. I'm just going to run through a quick explanation. So can everyone see that? Hope everyone can see my screen. Yeah.
Yep, I can see the screen.
Brilliant. Okay. So this is the subgraph. What it is, get the head tracking position. We split that into X, Y, and Z using split here. All we need the basket to move from left to right. So we only need X. So this is a really good way to do it. We just get the X value and convert it to sort of a X and Y. So just a 2D element. The Y is 0 because we don't need it to move up and down. We just need the X to move. I multiplied it by 55 to try and increase the increase the responsiveness. So just to make it move quicker. Again, the peak just to see what the value is. We split this to X and Y again because we want to make sure that the basket doesn't go out of the screen. So when we move our head left and right, we don't want the basket to leave the screen if the user steps back or does something. So we limit it to the edge of the screen, which is minus 260 and 260 here. And I'll show you what that looks like. And then we combine this back into X and Y to get the value. Minus 350 is actually the height. It's now the height of the basket. So if we change this to 0, it goes to the center. Minus 350 just brings it down to where it is at the moment. Okay, so we also have the lerp value here. This just smoothens out the movement of the basket as the head is moving. So you can change this value here, and it will either slow the basket down, make it really slow, or make it really responsive. Okay, and as you can see, when the user moves the head, it stops at the edge of the screen. So that is where the clamp comes in. It limits the movement of the X value. So when it gets to minus 260, it stops. Plus 260, it stops. Right, so that is the head movement. Now we want to get the fruit to fall from the top to the bottom and keep on looping. To do that, we I'm just going to move this over here. To do that, we use the fall-in logic, bring that in, and we connect the screen tap to the trigger. Oops, my bad. Let's see what this is saying. Right, we have a bad node here, so I'll just quickly replace that.
Joe, while you're waiting for it to
Yeah,
load, people are saying that you are a amazing speaker and you explain it really well. That
thank
your
you.
explanations are very easy to understand. So, hooray!
Oh, amazing. That's good. That is good. Uh, hopefully this hasn't crashed. Oh, okay, let me close it and start again.
While we're waiting for Joe's computer to revive,
Technical
I
issues.
like to read some comments. Ollie Tyler, who is also one of our ambassadors, is in the chat. He's saying "Hey yo" and then saying "the goats." Aw, Ollie, you're so sweet. Also, there are a lot of people in the TikTok chat as well, rolling with the roses. We also have Luke. Luke's asking any plan to make AI generation effects. Actually, there are some AI features in Effect House as well. We have a template called Stylize with AI where you can use prompts. We also have an AI asset studio where you just type in the prompt like a tiger, mosquito, pink raccoon. I haven't tried a pink raccoon, but I think that would be very funny. And it generates the face masks for you. So definitely go try that out. I think that's super fun. Um, Panda corn is me. The project file is also in Joe's Gumroad, so you can go and check out the project file on yourself as well. You can go through the notes. Joe here will today explain the general concepts and overall how he built it, and you can go over the template on your own time as well. Paula said something so funny. Joe, Paula said, your computer can't stand so much talent. Haley Capaz gave a really good advice. Panda corn is me. It is just practice. It seems intimidating, but if you take it piece by piece, day by day, it will feel less complex. I definitely do agree. I remember the first time I ever opened up Effect House. I've created AR effects before, but it was a whole new program, and I felt really intimidated, even though I worked with AR before. So I definitely understand how you feel, and just letting you know that this frustration is normal and common. But the more you just like play around with the tool, maybe dissecting an existing template, trying from a blank screen is hard, but we already have good resources and templates. So go and explore them, see like, oh, why did they connect these two notes together? Why did they arrange it this way? And then you'll feel a little better, and after a while you can create cool effects like Joe. So best of luck. And I think our screen's back, right, Joe? Or
Yes, I'm just yeah, it's back now.
okay,
It's back.
sounds good.
Right, can everyone see my screen?
Yes. Panda
Yep.
Corn is me,
Okay.
but you are already doing amazing. Great job. Just following along
Brilliant.
on a 3-week course. I know it's a lot of work. So I applaud you and congratulations. And we will still be here to help you. So don't feel intimidated. You're doing a great job. Thank you, everyone, and all of the people who attended this course. You're doing great. Okay, back to Joe.
Brilliant. Okay, so I'm just gonna reveal this really quickly. The benefits of using subgraphs is over time you build. Over time, either you're building makeup, you're doing games, you're doing other things. You tend to start using a lot of similar techniques. You can save those techniques or those nodes as a subgraph, and it just makes it so much easier to just import that chunk of code and it speeds up the process. So I just showed you the head tracker inside the subgraph, and you saw all those nodes. Instead of me recreating that, you can just group all that. For example, you just, if I needed all this, you just select them, right click, create subgraph, and it bunches them all into a lovely subgraph here. And you just double click this title and you can name it anything you want. And you can save this. So you right click on this and you select create subgraph asset. Once you do that, obviously you have to make sure whatever is in the subgraph is it's not anything like this. It's not a blue input or output node. But then once you save it, you can save it over here to your left hand side, and you can just easily drag it and drop it, or save it to your desktop and use it for another amazing project. Right, so I'm just gonna finish this. Let me just undo everything. Right, so we've got our position, press play, and the basket is moving. And wanted to do the falling fruit. So falling fruit, I'm just going to drag this falling logic back here. Pause this for now. Double click this because it seems that a previous version, this is a bad node. So I'm just going to swap it out real quick. Add nodes, transit by time. So this is it just means that since I updated to 2.8.2, Effect House has got a new transit by time node. Very easy. You just reconnect everything back into the position. So here's 2 from, let's see, and we need this to stop. And this to start. And this here. And you can see here a nice gate node here. I think Kasai talked about that yesterday. Gates are just amazing. And
Joe, we have to choose an effect of the day. I think yesterday, what did we end up doing, guys? Which node did we choose? I believe we were
oh right, yeah.
decide between the gate node or something else. But what's your favorite node?
It's a close. It used to be the switch node was one of my favorites. Now it's probably the there's one called, so bear with me. There's one called I think it's coex, something like that. Let me search for it.
Yeah.
It's this one here, execute, I guess. What it is, it's you wait for a pulse to come in here and a pulse to come in here. Once there are 2 pulses, it triggers something. So it's really good for just, for example, you might have an update node here, but you're waiting for the user to trigger something. So if the user taps on the screen or does something, then these 2 become active, and then it sends out a pulse.
Oh,
Yeah, so
that's so nice.
yeah,
So
so
let's say
it's a
you
nice one.
have you're doing a gaming effect and you want something to trigger when the user has done has completed level 1 and 2, and maybe you want
Yeah,
to make sure that they've completed both levels, and you can use this node.
yeah, you can use this exactly. So once you finish level 1, it sends a trigger, and it just makes sure that that level is complete, and then it sends out a pulse for maybe level 2. So yeah, and you can add more. You can add even more triggers as well, which is amazing. So yeah, that's probably one of my favorite ones I use at the moment. So I'm just going to delete this, push this up, and we will get back to this node. So again, inside this, we can save all these amazing nodes and reuse them over and over and over again. Right, so screen tap. Put the screen tap here, get the sequence node back, and put it into the trigger. And then what we do here is we have the position. So fall in one, let's say it is, we set the position. I'll explain all that in a bit. We connect it here. And let's just see. And what I'm going to do is press play and test it out. So tap on the screen. Let's see, position. Bear with me 1 second. So I'm just going to set this position X to 0, which is the middle, and Y to 720, which is right at the top. As you can see here, the fruit is right at the top. So this is the default position. It's always going to start there hidden at the top and then fall down to the bottom. So I'm just going to open this just to make sure we have not done anything too crazy.
It's so funny. I keep just looking at the woman, the model, and as she's like moving, the basket keeps like moving, and it's like very therapeutic. I don't know. I keep watching it. It's like the repetitive motion.
She just she just move it. Right. So just to explain this node, what happens when you click this? When you click the trigger, which is the screen tap or video record to start, it triggers this transition. This transition makes the fruit move. Again, there are different ways of doing this, but this is just one way. It makes the fruit to move from a set position here, sorry, a random position here to right down to the bottom, and a random position at the bottom. And then what happens is when that is done, it waits for 0.3 seconds and then triggers it again. So it just keeps on looping. It goes from the top to the bottom, and then goes back to the top, and then just keeps falling down like that. And then let's see here. To get the random position, this is what we do. We actually do random X moves from between the X values. So it could be on the left-hand side or the right-hand side. We get the random nodes. We set the values -311, which is the edge of the screen on one side, and 311, which is the edge of the screen on the other side. And this just randomizes the position. And each time the effect starts, it chooses a random position and saves it in a variable. And then each time the effect gets to the bottom, you can see it triggers the random node to save another number. So this is kind of triggering falsely at the moment. So I'm just going to check to see why that is. Just bear with me. This goes here.
Yeah, I think a couple of days ago on the Microjam office hours, it was actually yesterday. August talked about queuing, about how when you are trying to bring in an object, you are making sure that you have all of the objects imported. And like what Joe is doing here, we're recycling, so we're using the same asset. So every time a fruit is falling, it's not a new object. It's something that if the fruit goes from here all the way down to the bottom, we're just putting that up again and we're using the same apple. So we don't have 200 different apples in the queue. But because they're always falling from the same area, we've set the height, which I think Joe said was 720 this
Yeah,
way.
720.
And then if you go to, this is a 0 point, and if you go to this side of the screen, it's minus 311. And if you go to this side, it's plus 311. And all we're doing is using the random node, which randomly spits out a number between a range. So we're saying we're randomly deciding on the x-axis where the fruit should go. And then if the computer has decided where the random is, we'll set that as the dropping position. And then using transit by time, we're moving the fruit down so that the user can try to collect it. And it's really fun because even the creator of the game, Joe's not saying, oh, number one, let's drop from here and then drop from here and then drop from here. It's really being randomly generated by the random node. So even Joe doesn't know in which order from where the fruit's going to fall.
That's a beautiful explanation, actually. So yeah, that is true. So the random node just helps keep the game challenging for the user. Again, it just spits out a particular value. Each time it gets to the bottom, it jumps somewhere else. So that is really good. One thing I forgot to change was this. So this is the duration. This is how long it takes to get from the top to the bottom. You can increase this, or you can have another random node generate a random duration. This duration is the speed at which it moves from the top to the bottom. So you could create something like this and plug this. Again, you have to make a new one, plug it in to the duration, and then you can set it maybe 3 seconds to 8 seconds, and you can get some slow moving apples or some really fast apples. So again, it just adds something dynamic to the
Yeah, and because these nodes are also controlled by that speed variable, you can technically make it so that in the beginning, user can choose a different mode. Easy mode, advanced mode, super hard. Are you crazy for choosing this level mode? And we can make it so that when the user taps on those images, let's say you do image tap and connect it there, we can set the transit by time to be of a certain duration. So for easy mode, we'll make sure the range of how fast it's dropping to be 8 to 10 seconds. So it's dropping very, very slow. But in the crazy, insane model, we can make it so that the apples are dropping in 2 to 4 seconds, and then you barely have any time to respond. So these are all of the customizations that you can add. And I think that's really fun. Oh, another feature is maybe you can make it so the more you play the thing, the faster the fruit accelerates. So maybe per every 5 seconds the user plays the game, we minus the speed by one. So it's dropping faster and faster as the user goes. So this is another way of making sure making a game more interesting. In the comments,
yeah.
Joe, did you want to
So
say?
what I was going to say is, what I'm going to do is bring up the actual final image, so final projects, show everyone kind of a walkthrough of how it works, because my computer is fighting against my screen as well. So
Fighting
I'm
against
going to
your
bring that up and
brilliance.
yeah, walk everyone through that. I think it's going to be a bit easier.
Mhm. Darnell is from the TikTok Live. Hi, TikTok Live is asking, are these live saved anywhere? And yes, they are saved in our YouTube channel. So you can go to, you can search for Effect House, or you can also go to our forum page, and you should be able to find the Crash Course ones. So you can see all of those there. Hope this was helpful. I'm glad, Darnell, that you're asking for where these are saved, which hopefully means that you want to rewatch them. So I think you are saying um, these were informative and fun, and I'm really happy. But in the chat, how are you guys doing? Are you guys following along? Um, what kind of effects? Oh, Joe. While we were waiting or something, 26 minutes ago, I asked a question. I started a poll on what's your favorite Projo AR filters effect, and I had four options: lock code, memory game, color shape, and maze game. I want to hear
Mm.
your idea on which has the most votes and which had like in the order of votes. What do you think is the most popular one?
Probably the lock codes, maybe. I'm not
Mhm.
sure.
So, number one is color shape with
Oh,
42%.
amazing.
Ooh.
Oh, wow.
And the
Okay, that's
second
good.
one is memory game. I personally really love the memory game. I tried the one you created with the Disney princesses, and that was so
Oh,
fun.
right.
Next up was the maze game, and a lot of people are like,
Oh,
it is
wow.
actually insane how Joe created the maze game. It is so technical, it is fantastic. And the last one was lock code, but it doesn't mean that they love it any less. It's just that they really, really love the color shape. So
No, that's amazing. That's really good to hear. Anyway, yeah, the maze was definitely very challenging to make, but it's still fun because you can just make different scenarios and get this little blue dots to move around the screen. So yeah, that
mhm,
was definitely fun to make.
yeah. Speaking of, um, wow, people are saying, Joe, I asked them earlier, like, hey, are you guys following along? Is everything good? And Rolling with the Roses from our TikTok live says, yes, very well explained.
Oh,
Oh,
amazing.
King OT says, good to see you here again, Joe.
Amazing.
Are you ready for the screen share?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. So already right. So what I've done now is again in the on Gumroad there are two projects. There's one basic project that doesn't have anything in the visual script, so you can build it yourself. There's also the final project, as you can see at the top here. There it says full in game tutorial 2.8.2 final. So you have the final project as well that you can actually just use instead and just learn from. So I might just walk you through this instead and explain how it all works. When the user clicks the screen, taps the screen, I mean, a fruit starts falling down, and in the basket, you have to try and move your head to catch the fruit in the basket. When you catch a fruit, a score on the right hand side increases to from one to however many you catch. On the left hand side is the timer that counts down from I believe it's 10 at the moment, counts down from 10 to 0. So 10 seconds. Um, After 10 seconds, the game ends. So, how it all works is I'm just going to increase the visual graph again. Okay, let's just give it some time. It might freeze again. Oh, hold on. All right, this is fighting with my computer. I'm just going to
Absolutely
open it up
no
again.
worries because this happens to us all the time. I think during a couple of my last lives, I was always
Mm,
saying in each episode, bear with me, waiting for it to
yeah.
load. And then someone in the comments said, Celine in every episode, waiting for it to load. So you're not alone here. But I just wanted to let all of you know again that this project file is available in Joe's Gumroad page, and he shared this resource with us for free. So you can go check out that version. The link is in the comments right now, but I also put it in the video description area of this YouTube channel as well. So you can go check out this project on your own time as well.
That's lovely. Yeah, so the project on Gumroad includes all the subgraphs. It has the final project and it has a starter project where you can decide to build it yourself with everything included, the graphics included in that project. So easier for you to just very helpful for you to get started.
Yeah, Rolling with the Roses are saying thank you, Joe.
Oh, you're
That'd
welcome.
be very helpful. Mike Blackhat is saying it's a pleasure attending this workshop. Also, I was just noticing Joe's amazing accent. Every time he says brilliant, I was like, oh, so nice. Uh, Speaking of accents, I have a funny story. I'm from Korea and I graduated high school at Korea. So, all the way up until then, I lived in Korea. But I lived in America for like a year and a half when I was super young, maybe in like elementary school. So, I think that's where I picked up all my accents and stuff. So, in case you didn't know, if I'm talking out of grammar or there's something wrong, it's because I'm not like a native speaker. But when I went back to Korea, and sometimes like in English class, we would be talking to people, and then they're like, "Oh my gosh, you sound like the Mean Girls." So maybe I do have a little Californian accent. But going back to Joe, I think his
Wow.
screen share is ready.
So yes, excuse my British accent, but so yeah, this is the let just can you see this visual graph?
Yep, I can see.
Okay, so this is the visual graph. I've just blown it up by undocking and centering using the zoom icon here. I'm trying to move slowly. Let me just bear with me, just pause something. I'm just going to pause the preview window so things run a bit smoother. All right, that's paused. Right, so we were at the falling node. What happens is the fruit has to fall from the top to the bottom. So this node helps to do that. Because we've packed everything and made a subgraph of it, it does the same function for every fruit. So we can just copy it, paste it, and use it for the next falling fruit. All we need to do is get the position of the fruit number 2 or fruit number 3 or fruit number 4. So if you want to duplicate and add more fruit, you just have to duplicate this and a few other of the logic parts, but at least to move the fruit up and down, you just duplicate this. Add position falling 2, and this triggers the movement up from the top to the bottom. The next section is collision. So we have to get the score. We have to get the collision. So for collision, what I've done here, I've made another subgraph for collision because we can add so many extra fruits. We can just copy and paste this, and it will do a similar logic. All we need for this is the basket size, the position of fruit 1, the size of fruit 1. Again, that's just to calculate the collision and the size of each object falling. I've made a basket size a variable, and I'll explain why. So at the top here, we have the basket position, which we put into a variable so we can just copy it again. We can just use that throughout the subgraph. The size is quite good because we can modify the size or the radius of the basket. Modifying the radius of the basket makes it so that if the fruit falls on the edge, it doesn't count. It has to fall in the middle to actually count as score. So if it falls here or here, nothing happens. If we make the radius 100%, then the whole basket will be very sensitive to any fruit touching it. But if we reduce the radius, we just make the actual area for the trigger a lot smaller. So again, we can just modify this value, but made it 40 so that the fruit has to hit the middle to count. And we put that in a variable and then use that variable throughout the graph. For the collision, just going to open this up. This collision is a rather simple collision at the moment. August has got a 2D and 3D collision subgraph in the Discord channel that you can check out. This version just uses rectangles. So if a rectangle hits another rectangle, it will send a pulse out or it will trigger something. So that is why I have used rectangle overlap, because again, it's just nice and simple. This subgraph converts, it's a bit of maths, but it converts the size and position of the basket or the fruit into coordinates, and we can use these coordinates to get the edge of the shape and the edge of the basket. So that is essentially what it is. It's just get the edge of the basket, get the edge of the fruit, detect if they hit. If they hit, send out a pulse. If they don't hit, reset this do once node. So that's essentially what the fall-in collision is. And once you have the collision for the first fruit, we add the copy-paste the collision for the second fruit, and we just add the position and the size of the second fruit and the variables here for the basket, because we're always going to be comparing the position of the basket with every new fruit, just to make sure that we check the collision of each fruit. So once that is done, I put them into the outputs into a sequence. This sequence here is also joined with this other sequence output from the other collision from the second fruit, and this counts the collisions. This is the counter scoring for the collisions. Again, courtesy of August, this is the scoreboard subgraph that is very, very popular, or at least I use it quite a lot for scoring, for timers, for different things that have to show text on the screen. So this is very, very useful. Essentially, what it does is you have to use start to set the initial value. So this is the initial value. So the initial score will be 0. If you want the score to be 5, you just make that 5. And then each time there's a collision, there's the increment in steps of 1. So the score goes 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. If you want it to go 2, 4, 6, you just change this step to 2 or any other number you want. Each score is an animation sequence. So I put an animation sequence into each of these. So that is a scoring. Another cool thing you can do is you can either, when the fruit hits the basket, you can make the fruit disappear. But a really cool thing to do is you can scale down the fruit, so you can make the fruit just shrink. And that's why I've done the scaling. So after they collide, the scale of the fruit reduces from 1 to 0 within 0.2 seconds. So really quick, really smooth. It just shrinks the fruit. I'll show you that in a bit. So that is essentially it. The fruit falls down, it collides with the basket. If it collides with the basket, As the user moves their head left and right, it shrinks the fruit, and then it counts the score. So that is one section. After it shrinks and has to go back to the top, this section here resets this fruit scale back to 1 so that we can actually see the fruit. So this is a really cool section. This is a very important section just to get the fruit back to 1, back visible. The next, or like towards the end, the next section is the timer. So again, very essential. I have used a timer node here to count from 11 to 0. The reason why I use 11 is because 0 is also counted as a number. So there's a bit of maths here to determine which value of 10 or 11 is used. So essentially, you get the timer. Once you tap on the screen, it triggers the timer. The timer then counts from 11 to 0. As it's counting, sorry, I'll delete this. We don't need that. When the timer reaches 0, it then sends out a trigger to stop the fruit from falling down. So the fruit just resets back to the top automatically. So that you can just double click this subgraph to just see how it all works. But this is a very essential node. So this end trigger can stop the falling of the fruit, stops the timer, but you can also trigger confetti, you can trigger a message, you can trigger something else. So it's very, I just use a sequence so that you can just send the node out to whatever you need. A little hack I did here to count the seconds. So each second, I need the timer to actually count down from 10 to 0. So again, I use the scoreboard. A scoreboard is just a way to read text. The animation sequence, these are the numbers. I just need 2 numbers at the moment, just to keep it simple. Start here sets the value at 10. So it starts at 10, and then decrement just means that it goes down 10, 9, 8, 7 in steps of 1. So very important to just make sure this is steps of 1. I was playing around with this last night and I had it at 10, and I just wondered why it wasn't moving. So just make sure it's at 1. And yeah, this second timer. So just a quick hack, how I made this count every second is I just took a simple timer that is triggered once. When it gets to 1 second, it loops back and triggers itself again. So it doesn't really wait for anything. I just use this here because it's easier to loop back. It's easier to loop back into the start. So again, you have a gate here. So after 1 second, this gate starts open, so it's active anyway. After 1 second, it then sends a loop back to trigger itself automatically. So it just keeps going, keeps looping. But when the game reaches 0, it sends a pulse here to close this gate so that this loop that keeps on going just stops. So it's a really good thing to use this gate. The gate is always open, but once you close it, any signal coming in here automatically stops. So, and you can decide to have the gate open at the beginning or closed at the start. So that's how I did the second timer, just to keep on triggering the counter every second. And that's basically it. If you want to add more fruit, you would have to duplicate these sections here again, each fruit has got its own scale, like falling one has got its own position. You would also have to duplicate the collision as well, because each fruit will have to have its own collision. And you would obviously have to duplicate these sections as well and add more of these to the counter so that it can count every single fruit. So essentially, this is just two fruit falling. I'm just going to undock this, and that's it. I'm just going to press play. It might be a bit slow, but you will see the general idea. So on the left hand side here we have the timer, and on the right hand side here we have the score. This is set to 0 and this is set to 10. And once I press play, right, so the user moves their head. I tap the screen, and probably can't see it too well here, but again, just test it out. The Gumroad link you might be able to test this QR code here. So if you try scanning this QR code, you might be able to, I'm not sure, but you might be able to test out the game on your phone right now. And yeah, so each time there's a collision, this number goes up and the timer goes down. So try it out. I will test it out again. If there are any errors, I will update the Gumroad link. But essentially, that is how to make a falling fruit game, just a basic falling fruit game.
That's fantastic. I love the QR code idea. This is a real interactive stream. Thank you, Joe, for that tutorial. Everybody's saying, oh my gosh, I want Joe to lead every tutorial session. Projo is a really good teacher. Definitely going to watch this again. Reem says, so neat. My node treasure map could never. I also thought that it was so well organized and everything was in a proper box. And I was like, this is beautiful. This is art. So thank you so much, Joe.
Thank you.
Joe originally wanted to share another game resource today regarding revolving game, but the spinning game. But today, I don't think we'll have the time, but we'll just have to invite him back. It seems like everyone loves Joe, so we definitely have to invite him back. But we did get a couple questions from the chat, starting out with my own. Joe, all of your effects are so beautiful and well done, and assets are high quality. Did you professionally learn design?
So, not professionally, no. I've just always dabbled with trying to just messing around with Canva, but also Photoshop as well. So just trying, just learning some design styles, color science or whatever they call it, just comparing colors and making sure this color is complementary to this color. So things like that. There's some really good resources out there. And there's also, I don't know if you can share just my screen again, just to show a resource. Can you see this?
Yes. Free pick.
Right. So there are some resources I use, like Free Pick. I know a lot of them you might have to pay, but you'll be surprised you can find some cool stuff for free. So you can type in, let's say, fruit. And what I normally do is I go down to free license here on the left-hand side. And it will just select everything that is free on the website, but you get some really, really good resources, and you can download them. They're all free, so free licenses, no copyright issues, and you can download them for free actually. So you just cancel this and you just start downloading, and then you can have them on your computer. You can crop them with Canva, you can crop them with whatever you want to do. So again, free. Let's close this. A lot of free resources on the internet. So Vectc, I think that's what it's called. It's a free resource. Freepik is another. Freepik.com is really good. And one of my favorites is Icon Scout. You can use
Ooh.
Icon Scout to actually get some really good icons, or just like 512 by 512, 256 by 256 type graphics or square graphics, and animations as well. So you can get some really cool animations. So let's say fruit. You can get, just scroll down again and you just go to free. And again, there's some amazing artists that just give all this out for us to use. But one of my favorite things to use is actually 3D illustrations, because they look so cool. They look
Wow.
yeah, and they look so cool. Like they look like this. They look like 3D images, but made into PDFs.
That is so
And again,
cute. What?
so you can get animations as well, free animations. So
Haley
for
Kappas is
GIFs or
saying these are some really good resources. I often find it difficult and taking a lot of extra effort to draw everything from scratch, and that she's definitely going to check these out. So thank you for sharing them.
no worries. Yeah, so that is my, so that is, if I can't think, then I just try to search all these things, all these free resources, and just try and use them if I can. Because they're free, you can also modify them in Photoshop or Canva, and you can change colors, you can remove backgrounds, you can just go crazy and
Mm-hmm.
crazy with them.
Reem is saying Projo is teaching us all, and I agree. Thank you so much for sharing these resources. I also
You're
have
welcome.
another website that you guys might like, the nounproject.com. So I
Oh yeah, that is good.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So this is
yeah.
everything on this website is free, I think, and I think it's built together. People upload them, but if you go over there, you can search for really good, well-designed icons. So let's say you wanted to go. You needed a button that says airplane or something, then you
Mm.
can definitely check that out.
Is
Okay,
that the one that the icons are black and white? Is that the one, I think?
I think it's black and white mostly, but I don't
But
remember.
it's got other, you can
Yeah,
customize
yeah.
them. Yeah.
But definitely try that out. Okay, one question from you, from Haley Catpaz. If you could create any kind of effect with no limits of any kind on it, so you have endless money, endless time, endless
And the
supercomputer,
space as well.
yep, endless space, what kind of effect would it be?
Well, probably be something 3D. So I probably wouldn't have to worry about triangles.
Hmm. The
Maybe make
triangle
a
count.
three, yeah, triangle count. I won't have to worry about 5 megabyte limit.
Yeah.
And yeah, maybe a really cool 3D game that would just be, that has multiple levels, because it can be difficult to have levels on 3D games or anything that is quite tasking, just because you're going to reach the 5 megabytes, or the feature scripting is going to be slow or something like that. So yeah, I would probably do a 3D game,
That's
like
so
an
fun.
expensive 3D game with levels, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of your effects are viral, or a lot of people use it. Do you have any tips on promoting your effect?
Yeah, so I'm still learning how to promote as well, but I think Laura Guyon has got some really good advice for promoting. I think I've seen that on TikTok, Effect House, one of the posts. Um, but I also say, if when you post, when you create an effect, try making a video of it, but make more than one video. So maybe over the course of a couple of days or something, you can make multiple videos using your effect. Maybe the first one you can use as your what do you call it, the default video. But I would say don't be shy to use your own effect. Make multiple um, videos using your effect, stitch other people. So once your videos start getting traction, you will see some top creators or some other people using your effects that have got loads of views and loads of favorites. Try stitching them as well. So stitch their video or duet them. I know you're quite good at duetting, but I'm still learning to duet. So, but yeah, duet people, and also once you've made a video, once you've posted your video and it becomes the default video, you will get loads of comments and loads of suggestions, maybe, and just loads of people interacting with it. Try going to the first, like the top comments or the popular comments or controversial comments, and reply to them using a video. So video reply
Ooh.
and post that as well. So because
Uh-huh.
that will still get other people to interact with it, and the original person to maybe respond with another video or something. So yeah, I think that is a good way. But yeah, definitely try to make a video of each of your effects and just use them in funny ways or just in relaxing with relaxing audio or something like that.
This is a mega tip. Also personally feel like when I'm trying to promote my effects, the first video that I post using that effect might not be the video that makes it actually blow up. So I've noticed this a lot, and I keep posting promoting my effect. I see a lot of effect creators post one video per effect, but as per Joe's advice, you don't have to do that. You can post multiple videos, and maybe your third one or fourth one, it may be that viral video that pushes everything over. Another thing that Joe mentioned about video comments, I actually personally leverage this as well. If there is let's say you got inspiration for this effect from watching a video in the For You page, then I would go there and get the top comment, press on it, and press record a video reply. If
Reply,
you do that,
yeah, that
your video gets put on the top comment. So maybe that's another way to get a lot of people to check out your video. So definitely check that
because
out.
sometimes people do like they'll ask, oh, make a version 2 or make another level or do something else like that. When you do make a second level, you can then reply to that comment saying, yeah, try this new level out, or who can beat this new level. So yeah, you can, those are good ways of promoting.
Yeah, and Reem is asking a question. How do you overcome the fear of negative criticism?
What, on effects or
She didn't clarify, but maybe both on
okay.
effects or videos.
I I've started just taking it as a joke. So what I do now, I purposely put Easter eggs in my effects. I would purposely make something break or make something go wrong because people comment and comment and comment and comment and comment. So because people just keep on commenting,
Uh-huh.
I will sometimes go back and fix it if it's bothering me, if it's like a really bad error, or I just leave it and just update the next one. But sometimes I want people to find little mistakes. Like I did a bracket effect, and it was for Marvel characters, and I purposely put Kim Kardashian's picture in there as like an Easter egg. And a lot of people commented, but you know the true people that are using it because they will find those little things and say, how dare they use Kim Kardashian, in my effect, but it just drives conversation. So
Uh-huh.
that's yeah, that I just take it as a joke now, and I just say, look, I'm glad you found it. At least someone was paid attention to it. So
Yeah, I think
yeah,
this
that's
is
what I do.
actually so funny and a smart strategy that a lot of users
Mm,
are using. You can also apply this principle in your promotional video as well. Like add something like you type the spelling wrong, or when you're
yeah,
streaming, the someone swings open the door. It's actually a strategy that a
yeah,
lot of TikTokers use to bring in engagement. And one thing that I
mm,
want everyone to keep in mind, that as a creative, there can never be a product or an effect or a video that satisfies every single person.
yeah, true.
And yeah, your loyal fans are gonna love your effect regardless. So yes, there is negative feedback, but don't take anything too close to heart. I actually wanted to show you guys this video. So this is my channel, Magical Celery, and today, I mean yesterday, I posted this video of me using an effect that now has 251K views. But usually, my video views average around like 500, 700. So this is a video that's really blowing up for me, and it's happening right now. And most of the comments, if you're reading, this is an effect where you can adjust the color dials to do a color match. But apparently, I did a very terrible job because my score was like 80%. Oh, no. And then everybody in the comments is saying, like, I would not hire you to be the graphic designer. It doesn't. Your score is terrible. I got 99, and I'm only 13. So based on Joe's
Exactly, it's exactly that. Yeah.
based on Joe's response, I'm gonna stitch the top video comment that is roasting me and do a second part series. But yeah, those boost up engagement, and that's the reason why my video got so many views. And each, even though it is negative criticism, it's helping with the algorithm. So add an Easter egg, embrace the comment section. But of course, if it gets excessive and if it's attacking you, make sure to report and block
Yeah, then
the
that's
person, because that is not absolutely not what we're talking about.
mm.
Kel is saying, "Wow, Easter eggs is an awesome strategy." Panda Corn is me is saying, "I naturally make Easter eggs, but I call them mistakes." Chatter, chitter, chitter, chitter. But yeah, I think that was a fantastic tip. Thank you so much for sharing. Last question. No, two more questions. One, is there someone you admire in the Effect House community?
Yeah. So I mean, there's the good thing about Effect House is global. So creators from different backgrounds, different they have different ideas as well. KSI for sure is one of them. You've also got one day. I think he won a few competitions as well. But his design. So you asked me how I come up with my designs and stuff, but his are really polished as well, which I quite appreciate. And his the games he makes are also quite cool. So yeah, one day I think it's from Indonesia or Singapore,
Oh, are you
or Malaysia.
Wanda Tree, like
DE
WANDETRI? I think so.
probably
Yeah.
probably probably yeah. But he's got that pyramid game. You know, the game where you've got the
Yes.
numbers and
Yes.
you can build. Yeah. So
Mhm.
yeah. Um, so yeah, you've got that, and then we're very jealous of people like say
Yeah.
I want to say Yan. Yeah, that's it. That's the game. That's the game. Unix as well, who's really good at 3D
Yes.
stuff, which is good. And all the people that can do makeup. So Florencia, that is good at makeup. You've got Paola as well. Paola Casado, really good at a lot of things, makeup and really cool quizzes as well. So yeah, it's just a global community. So it's really good to that there's a lot of people pushing the creative boundaries or just having fun with it.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Thank you for sharing. Last effect of the day. Can we get a sneak peek of your next effect? Or just explain what your next effect will be?
So my next effect, I actually want to try and take some time to learn a lot of the material graph. I know you said you're trying to learn the material graph.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, material graph and a lot of the physics as well. So I think one of my game ideas is to do with physics. It's to do with
Ooh.
yeah, it's to do with collecting some fallen items. So yeah, that is in the works.
That sounds so fantastic. If you create them, please let us know and we'll show it during an Effect
100%.
House Live. And also, you
Thank
have to
you.
come back to show us your spinning game.
Now we'd love to, yes, the puzzle spinning game. Yeah, we'd love to show more games if I'm allowed.
Yeah, sounds good. Um, Personally, it was such a lovely time having you. I think everybody had such a great time. They said you were the best explainer. So thank you again so much for coming live. And if you are interested in learning material editor, Joe and everybody else, next Wednesday, our designer, our interactive engineer, Felicity, is coming out and she will be doing a tutorial on the material editor templates and body outline. So definitely keep an eye on those. And then you can ask her all the material editor questions because she's an expert, she's a pro. So that's a great chance for all of you guys to learn. So very looking forward. I'm gonna have to let everyone go. This is the end of the class today, but thank you everyone for coming. You guys did it. Day 7 of Crash Course Live for the last 3 weeks. I'm so proud of you guys. Thank you, Joe, for coming. Bye, guys.
Thank
Let's
you.
start the award ceremony. Make sure to leave the comments in the forum page so we can hand out the certificates. Where I'm gonna read out every single one of your names. So make sure to post on each of the forum pages. I see that some people only posted on a couple, and I really want to give you guys a certification. So make sure to come and comment on every single day. Today's mission is to use Joe's effect. The name is called Color Shape. So use the Color Shape 2 and post a video of you using it, and then that will count as attendance today. Bye, guys. Have a great rest of your day. Bye, Joe. See you again
Thanks for
soon.
having me, guys. Cheers.
Bye.